Hello viewers, Super GT here, and I've been called out by JSR Devon. Just kidding, it's going to be a couple of 1v1 races where we're going to prove who's the best once and for all. And first up, you can see here, Forza Motorsport 7. We're going to do a couple of different games, so eventually we'll, I guess, get to 1v1 on Rust, Modern Warfare style, the only true place for a 1v1. Here we go then, Forza Motorsport 7 is first up. This is probably the game that we've both played the most. So this would be the one where we're probably the both most skilled at, or least unskilled at, depends which way you look at it. So by default or some luck, I managed to get pole position. And we've gone for Lime Rock in the Mazda MX-5 Cup. Always a great combination. Just 5 laps, a fairly short race, but then it's only 1v1. Already pulling out that gap, you could see as we just briefly looked behind. So this combination, yeah, it's a very commonly done one. As I go very wide up the hill, almost grazing the tyre wall. I've done it in plenty of open lobbies. It's just a good combination, and I think the inspiration really was from iRacing. It's a normal combo you do on that sim. So through the final corner, that can be taken flat if you are brave / good enough. Crossing the line to begin lap 2, still in the lead. Now with a 1v1, you only really have to focus on the other person. There's not really any other strategy. Just attack as much as you can and just get away if you can. Get a gap so you don't have to start defending. But if he does get too close, start going for that defensive line. But for now, I should be okay. I think maybe in many cases it will just be a mistake from the person in front in a 1v1 kind of race. But that remains to be seen. Will I be able to get through without making a mistake? I think I have raced a fair amount on this game. I think I've raced more than Devon, to be fair. He hasn't played quite as much as I have. And I suppose he isn't competing in Forza RC this year. So I do have the edge in that kind of respect. Competing last week on Forza RC does help to keep you sharp. But still, Devon's keeping very close. And if I do make a mistake, then he's more than likely going to get past. But as the race goes on, further and further into the race, it's going to become increasingly unlikely that he's going to be able to get past. He's going to run out of opportunities to get past, and I was a little bit tentative through the left-hander. You can see that proximity arrow glow orange, albeit very briefly. He's made a mistake. You could see momentarily as we looked behind, his car was a little bit sideways on the exit. So that's going to give me a bit of a gap. Flying through the uphill, got to maximise the track width on the exit. So not many overtaking opportunities really at Lime Rock. As I said, you're mainly waiting for a mistake from the other person, or if you're behind, you're waiting for a mistake from the person in front. So just about going through there. Was that flat out? Couldn't quite see if I lifted on the entry, but it was fairly quick, and that gap is beginning to open up. It's starting to look fairly comfortable in this first race. So first race of 3. So I'll go 1-0 up if I win this one, and that'll put the pressure on, because it will mean if I win the second race, then I've already won the whole thing. So then through the left-hander, beginning to get my rhythm now. So as I said, as the race goes on, you're going to run out of opportunities to overtake. Plus, I'm going to presumably get into my rhythm, although you could argue that he's going to get into his rhythm too. So that could work. That could work both ways, I suppose. Consistent, so only 7,000th down on that split. Just about keeping within the lines, and I think he's made another slight mistake. It is a tricky corner, that uphill right-hander. The gap is fairly large going into the final corner. Not a hint of a lift, and there we go, flat out through the final corner. It is just about doable in this car. Not many cars can do that, but this one just about can. You do have to just about get it right, and I don't know how many more times I'm going to say just about. But we are less than a lap away from a victory in the first race, and we're going to move to Dirt 4 next. So Dirt 4 is not a game I've really played too much of, although I don't think Devon has either, to be honest. So then running wide there, he's got to push. I mean, to be honest, if you're second and it's looking like nothing's going to happen, then you might as well push, I suppose. If you're going to finish second, you might as well just absolutely go for it, because you can't really lose more than second place in a 1v1. So then it looks like I'm going to win this one as we come down the hill. Fairly comfortable victory, a bit of a lift from the apex, you might as well play it safe. I've got the gap. There we go, it's going to be a victory. First race, first blood to Super GT. Across the line, 59.3 fastest lap. Quite a bit off what the top guys would manage around there. And there we go, Super GT with the Ram suit, putting Devon to shame in second place. So we moved to Dirt 4, and I told Devon to go to hell. And not in a nasty way, but literally, look, it's called hell, this track. And we're going to race the Ford Focus Rallycross car for 4 laps of mayhem. Rallycross is an amazing discipline, and this should make for a very interesting race. So of course we have the Joker lap to do as well. And off the line you go. Quite a tense start. We've got full revs off the line. There we go. It looked like I got an initial great launch, but then Devon using the nitrous oxide booster to launch immediately into the lead with a great hole shot. So Devon's got the initial advantage, but we both run our Joker lap, so that's not really going to be any difference in strategy there. So we're both going to kind of just do the same strategy now. So that normally, if the other guy takes a Joker, you can kind of play around with that, and hopefully that you can use your Joker at the right time. Well, we're using it at the same time here, so it's just going to be a straight race where we're going to take the normal route for the rest of the race. So then here is the normal route. We're going to go turn sharp right rather than go up the little dirt track. So it's going to be a close one. And in Rallycross, a bit of contact is kind of permitted. Obviously you can't full on ram each other off, which is a shame because I kind of like doing that. And you can see it's quite clear. Well, you can see that I can't see when you're the car behind. Obviously you're running on dirt and gravel and stuff. I'm going to kick up plenty of that into my face, so I can't really see all that much when I get right behind. On this tarmac section, it's okay. He's going to throw his bumper off into my path. He's really trying to do anything to put me off my stride and take me off my rhythm. I'm just about still keeping up with him. He is very quick. And into the second to last corner, or third to last corner, getting right onto his tail. I'm not sure how much he knows about it. I am going to be knocking on the door, coming into the final corner. He's taking quite a narrow entry. Very close though. As we enter the final lap, how is this one going to go? Can I do anything about Devon's lead here? If I can win this race, then I have won the whole event and proven myself to be the infinitely more capable driver out of the two of us. As we come down into the third to last corner, contact. It's getting really dirty now. I've pushed him twice. He's still in the lead though. Is that a sign of things to come? Into the last two corners. The fast left into the final corner. He's gone in deep. I'm going to go for the mega lunge. There's contact through the apex, and I've spun around. I've gone full 180, facing the wrong way, and Devon's going to claim the victory. Over the line we go. I finished second. What a finish that was. I couldn't quite make out what the hell happened. I think I went for a mega lunge, and then I just went in a little bit too hot, clipped his front end, and it kind of spun me round. But a really interesting end to that race. Setting the fastest lap 35.4, but it was not good enough to win overall. It was quite an amazing finish though, which does bring us to then the final race, which is going to be on Assetto Corsa. Now Assetto Corsa isn't something that I don't think either of us have played a huge amount of, but we did do a 20-minute practice session just before, and it was fairly evenly matched going in. We were driving the Praga R1, a really unusual looking car, and it's going to be an interesting one here at Imola. 5 laps. Away we go. There we go. We can see the Devon He set a slightly quicker lap time in practice. He is going to start just ahead. And it seemed like the most anticlimactic start of all time as the car kind of bonks down initially. Looking up the inside, just trying to put him off in a way. Does drive a little bit wide. The lag might seem a bit unusual. Yeah, I mean, like the way that his car is facing. But this is JSR Devon. Let's not forget that he has pretty much the worst internet on Earth in the entire world. So it's always hard for him to race online. But we just about made it happen into turn number, what turn is this, number 7? And I'm up the inside and I can't see where he is. He's not in my rearview mirror. I can see that there's a red arrow. I don't know if he's alongside. There's a bit of contact as we go over the crest. I've got the inside line for the left of 8 and there he is, and he's in the rearview mirror fully now. So I've taken the lead, I've taken the early initiative in the deciding race. A little bit wide through the apex of 10. It's a difficult corner to get right with the corner just before turn 9. Curved entry can prove very difficult to get right indeed. Into the chicane of 11 and 12 through there. Okay, just running out, making the most of the AstroTurf. We can see Devon getting slightly smaller in that rearview mirror. Always a good sight to get less and less pixels in that mirror of the other car. Into turn 14, the last couple of corners on the lap, and into the final one. Officially, this curve in the straight is officially the last corner. There we go. That's one lap down, and quite crucially, we're into the lead. That is quite an important aspect in any 1v1 race. You can control the pace, you can control the positioning, you can just go fully defensive, and it is very hard to get past anyone who goes fully defensive. And into the first couple of corners really smoothly through there. So in the Forza race I was using the controller, in the dirt race I was using the controller, but here I'm using the Thrustmaster TX wheel. And Assetto Corsa is definitely better suited to the wheel, and of course going for the cockpit camera. The chase cam in this game is really very strange, very hard to use, so a bit of a mistake, a bit tentative through the corner, and maybe it's one of those cars that in a way you kind of have to go quicker. It just feeds off of more speed. It's better to go fast. Devon must have made a mistake through the first sector, getting even smaller in that rearview mirror, and I'm going to make a big mistake there. You can see again, taking too much curve, maybe again a little bit too tentative. Devon's size within the mirror gets even bigger, increases in the amount of pixels I can see of red in the mirror. He's getting closer as we go into the chicane. Probably the most difficult part of the circuit, in my opinion. Track limits are very strict on this game, and I'm surprised I didn't get one there for running all 4 wheels onto the Astro. I think I might have kept one polygon of tyre on the actual track, just about avoiding the penalty. Down into the last couple of corners, big braking zone down the hill. The downhill nature doesn't help you. Normally going uphill does help with the braking zone. The turn 14 braking zone downhill, quite a long braking zone from your highest gear, so it's a crucial one to get right. Once again though, onto the main straight, the gap getting slightly bigger as we go onto there. The lap time 1:52.5. We can definitely do a 51. We should be able to go a lot quicker than that. We did make a fair few mistakes on the lap before, so there we go. Fastest lap just popping up as you're going through the crucial apex of 2 and 3, which can be off-putting, but you kind of got to ignore it. Make sure you're looking at the right things. Cockpit view can be very difficult to spot exactly what you've got to look at, especially when you're behind. It's very difficult to look at certain things. I get a penalty, run far too narrow on that corner, and then I've got on the throttle too early in anticipation, and then the penalty here goes down to 0, and I get on the throttle again and the penalty's gone back up to 5 seconds. So really frustrating, and now I'm going to have to get on the throttle. So I've got a massive penalty there. I've got 5 seconds for cutting, fair enough, but it went down to 0 and then it carried on. So that's surely some sort of glitch. When the penalty goes down to 0, you should be able to go. But in this game, no. I don't quite understand that, to be honest. But I've got to get back onto my rhythm here try to catch him back up. He has made a fair few mistakes, so I wouldn't say it's impossible to try and catch up and overtake him again. Let's see if it can happen. Into the chicane. The gap may be only 1 or 2 seconds, and after that penalty it's looking more like 3 or 4 or 5. So I think I've already gained and cut it down. So then winding down the hill through turn 13, pretty much just a kink and a preparation zone for the braking zone of turn 14. Through there okay. Devon needs to have a good couple of laps here. 2 laps remaining, and he's had quite a poor corner there, turn 15 onto the lane straight. And I think that would set him up quite badly, this main straight. So looking to try to capitalise on any mistake that he might make, probably going to be the best way for me to get past. So there we go, crossing the line, 1:59, so I've lost about 7-8 seconds on that lap. But we have 2 laps remaining to try to overhaul him and get back into that lead and then win this whole challenge. So through the apex of 2 and 3, we're through there very nicely. We've caught up definitely, and I'm within range of perhaps going for a sickening banzai lunge. Not into this one. I've noticed he's a bit slow through this corner, and I'm borderline cutting there, risking getting another penalty right on his tail. I'm going to go deep here, look for the cutback. It's quite tricky to judge exactly where he is with a lag. So you might see that he's jolting a bit forwards and backwards. It can be difficult judging exactly his precise location on the circuit, which can make close racing very difficult. So I'll do my best here to try to not punt him 2,000 miles into the barrier. So then into 9, into 10, hitting the apex nicely, bit of oversteer, just about correct it in time, towards the chicane for the 4th time. And look for the 75 board, which there isn't one. It's just an imaginary board between 100 and the 100, between the 100 and the 50. And we're through the apex, a bit of oversteer on the exit on the AstroTurf. Surprised to not get a penalty, but we've just about survived this time around. I've had enough penalties in this race. With 1 lap to go, it's looking very close. It's set up rather nicely here, and I'm going to be 1 second up, or actually 1.2 seconds up on my best. So it looks like we're going to set a very fast lap time here indeed. I'm tucking into that slipstream. I'm going to pull over to the left hand side here. I'm not sure exactly where he is. I'm definitely alongside though now. So he must have got a very poor exit, plus I've got the slipstream advantage. I'm up the inside into turn 1. That red arrow is moving slightly backwards and into the apex of 2. I am through. There he is. He's firmly into the rear view mirror. And to be fair to him, I think he had to back out. He couldn't quite see exactly where I was as I moved up the left hand side of him. And now I'm into the lead. I have the advantage. I have the position. Brief moment through the apex of turn 5 and 6, just about correct it in time. The Thrustmaster TX really helping me with great sensitivity. I can really feel the car through the apex of 6, well, through the apex of all the corners to be honest, and not just 6. That'd be quite worrying actually if it was only just 1 corner. So then into the left of 8, a very difficult fast flowing corner, maximising the curve on the exit. Don't really want to go much wider than that, otherwise you're risking another penalty. I'm 4 tenths up on my split, nearly half a second up. Car having a brief moment on the entry to 10. We're lapping quite nicely here. We've got an advantage of maybe a second or 2. I can afford to slightly back off, not too much. You don't want to really get into a range of a banzai pass. And again, a big moment on the exit of the chicane. Well, we've just about rescued the car from spinning, as now we come down to turn 13, only a couple of corners remaining in the race and the whole challenge to crown myself the best driver in the world out of Super GT and JSR Devon. There's only 2 people in this challenge, so I can't really claim much more than that. But as we come up to the line, I'm going to get a pretty quick lap time here, half a second up on my previous best, and I'm going to win the challenge. There we go, Super GT confirmed. Total noob. But thank you for watching. It was a really good challenge actually. It was refreshing to drive on a couple of games, and of course do check out JSR Devon's version of events, which may look a slightly different. Well, of course it will look slightly different because it's from his car. But there we go guys, I do hope you enjoyed as always. Let me know your thoughts. Have a look at JSR Devon's channel and version of the video, and I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.